Hi, Ian here from Dark Blades Workshop. Welcome back to another video, and this one we're doing the second part of the pawn shop from Multiverse Gaming. Okay, onto the weathering. I'm going to be using oils again. Same process as the rest of the board if you've seen that video. And the same 3 oils. Black, sap green, burnt umber. Can't go wrong. These 3 are your mainstay for weathering, I reckon. Well, for grimy streets anyway. And I'm going to be using MIG odorless thinner. So I've got this ready on my oil palette. I reuse this pretty much every time I use oils. I use this palette. So I've got my black there, burnt umber, sap green. I'll add a little bit of thinner into each well just to get it moving a bit. And hopefully you've seen the board tutorial where we use the dot technique, where you add dots across the top. I tend to leave the green for down the bottom. I'll put a bit more in there and a bit more here. And the idea is to go over the graffiti so it looks as though it's been there for ages. So I've got my odorless thinner ready. I'll put some green down the bottom. Odorless thinner ready in my well in the palette, and I'm going to swap brushes now because I use a smaller brush to get a bit more control on where the oil goes. I'll use a bigger brush then to apply the thinner, so I got a big one. I'll try this one first of all, but I might go to a bigger, wider brush. Depends how it goes. So streak away, add more thinner, and keep going until you're happy. Might be a bit difficult with these sections, but we'll give it a go. I'm going to swap to a bigger brush because I don't think it's really cutting it. So I've got a GW dry brush here. As long as you keep the brush moving in the same direction, i.e. up or down, and not across the way, you'll get the nice streak effect going. I think I may need to go up the way between these sections because these pillars are running across. It's making things a bit difficult, but still doable. And see, I came down first of all, and see the oil's accumulating down here. If you do half a stroke up, just to blend it in, but it's far too dark at the minute. I'll be adding more thinner to get things going. If I turn it that way, maybe, yeah. It's starting to give a nice effect already. So if we get rid of what's on my brush and do half a stroke down, still a bit much there, but you can blend it. I might just get rid of some of that oil there by cleaning the brush. And again, stroke down the way and pull up half the way. Just to get rid of that accumulation there. I don't think you can see the green on the camera, but it's quite nice looking at the minute. Okay, so I'm going to do this exactly the same on all 4 walls now, and we'll come back for the next stage. Okay, I lied. I'm back. I thought I'd show you this side because I've added more green to the bottom on this one because of it's a doorway and people use them as places to relieve themselves. Put some along the steps as well. It's quite heavy. And same again, streak down. Bring the green up, more thinner. Cleaner steps towards the middle of the stairway. Let's apply some to the side there. Obviously you can go as heavy as you want with these streaks, but I like it to be more subtle, just changes in tone here and there. Fairly happy with that actually. I might come up the way there. Okay. So while the oils are drying, it's onto the sign. So what I've done, I've just give it a coat of white. I'll go on another second coat now. I'm not so bothered about the inside of the lettering or the other side. I'm just concerned about the front of the lettering for now. Because I think I might go with a darker colour there. This A is broken, but I think I'll keep that because it's in keeping with the feel of the rundown area. So I think it's a stroke of luck, really. Right, so I was going to go pink, but I found this colour at the bottom of a pile somewhere, fluorescent green. So we're going to have a go with this. So I'll wait for the white to dry and we'll come back. So the white is dry, so I've added a dark green. I think it's about Caliban green, somewhere around that area. If you're using Vallejo, it was black green, and I've added some of the fluorescent green to it. Just going on the sides of the lettering, not so much towards the top of the lettering. On the top there, I'll leave that white. It's all about this bit here. I'm not really fussed on how neat it is, it's just to get the paint on. Because this is going to be in the shadow of the glow anyway. I'm going to have to reapply the white to the front of the lettering. Right, happy with that. So it's just white to the top of the front. And I'll just leave it to dry. Okay, so I've got the fluorescent green now. I'll just add a little bit of water to it. This is purely experimental because I've never used it before. So I'll just apply it to the lettering. Looks like it's quite thin, so it might take a couple of coats just to build it up. As I say, I'm not concerned about the side of the lettering, it's just the front of the lettering. Okay, so that's 4 coats of the fluorescent green. In hindsight, I wouldn't add any water to it. But yeah, this is where we are now. So what I'm doing is that dark green, just making a glaze now to go around the outside of the lettering. Because the plan is to edge highlight in white, but have a little bit of darkness in the lettering. So if I can get this to work, I'll be happy. So I'll just add in along the edge there. Just dabbing it so it pools. Got a little bit more intense, I think. So I've added more green. Okay, I'll wait and see what that dries like. So this is the top part where the sign goes. It's got slots at the top and bottom for the tabs of the sign to fit into. I've put a layer of buff on because the fluorescent green just wasn't showing up over the top of the brown because it's so dark. So just going in with a second coat now. And when we apply I'll just try and fade it at the edges. When we apply the fluorescent green, then it should show up a lot nicer. So just leave that dry now. Okay, so on with the fluorescent green now. I'll just leave that drying, we'll do a second coat. Okay, so just going to apply the second coat now, and I'm going to concentrate around the edges now this time. Just to intensify it. So I'm going to go with a darker colour in the middle where the lettering is, so yeah, happy with that. Okay, so I'm going to stay within where the slots are. So the slot runs from there to there, so I'm going to just do a dark oval in the middle where the lettering is going to be. Maybe come down a little bit, I think. Just give it a blast with the air to dry it off. Now I'm going to apply the paint. I'm not entirely sure it's going to work, but we've had a go. Let's see what the sign looks on top of that. Yeah, I think we've got enough coverage there, so that's okay. Alright, I'll leave it dry before we glue it into position. Okay, I forgot that we had a gap in between the letterings, so the next stage I'm going to put a line of buff right along the middle row of bricks and then go over the top of that then with the fluorescent green, and I think we're job done on that. So here we go, a line now across the middle. Only pulling back very gently on the airbrush there, so I get very little paint coming through. I'm just building it up now. But I think we've got enough there, so swap into the fluorescent green next. I'm just going to apply the green now. You can see it probably take a couple of coats, so we'll come back when everything's dry. There's a lettering in place now. What I need to do now is the roof, so I'll be stippling on. No, I don't think I'll stipple. I'll use a sponge to do different tones of grey, and that'll be it, I think. Okay, you can see now that the oils have dried. We've got quite nice streaks going on there, and I think it's just a case of adding some more fresh graffiti on it. I'll use exactly the same process as we did with the other graffiti, so there's nothing new there. Oops, it'll teach me to glue them together. But yeah, fairly happy with that. As I say, I use a sponge, so I'll put a dark grey on and then I sponge different tones of grey onto there. So there's no real technique to that to show. So I think we're finished. So I'll take some nice pics and we'll do a wrap up, I think. Just a little addition. There's the sign. I wasn't entirely happy with it, so I'm glazing on a white ink with the fluorescent green mixed into it, just to bring it to a lighter stage than the actual, the glow behind it. I don't want to just paint on a bright green colour because I wanted to stay in control of how light it goes. So I'm going to do about 3 or 4 glazes until it lifts it. And I'm happy with it. And I'll edge highlight this part as well here. Basically, just keep going till you're happy. I think I'm getting there. Just about 2 or 3 more passes and I think I'll be there. Okay, my apologies, I totally forgot the windows at the front. What I've got is the grill is Vallejo's burnt iron, or any dirty iron you've got. If you haven't got a dirty iron, use I think it's iron breaker. Maybe put a little bit of Mornfang brown in it, just to dull it down and make it a little bit dirty. And then I've done a black wash over the top, so I'm just going to leave it as is there. The windows, I'm using the plastic from a blister pack. What I've done is I've given it a quick spray of dull coat, just so that when I start playing about with it now, the paint just doesn't run off it. The plan is to add newspapers in the window as well, just to tart it up a wee bit. And I've got some other bits here to add as well. So first things first, I'm going to get some PVA glue ready, and I'll add a little bit of water to it, and then it's the same process as adding newspapers to the streets. So I've got my PVA glue. I'm just going to add some of my paint water. It's a little bit dirty, but I don't think it'll make that much difference to it anyway. It's really thin. So water down the PVA. I'm not going to add Agrax like I did for the dirty newspapers on the streets, because I want these newspapers to stay relatively clean, because they'll be on the inside of the windows, inside the building. So same as before, just add the old school way. Pick it up and drop it in the glue. Flip them over. Good idea to have a paper towel handy. So while they're soaking, let's grab some. So I'll just check the fit of the pane. Is good. So I've got about 5mm at the top to play with. Right, so the first bit, the newspaper is coming out. And I'll just apply that to the glass. And I'm going to overlap them slightly as well. At different angles just to break it up. I'll just add a few more bits. Remember, this glue will dry clear, so you won't have to worry about it being all white. And we'll put the last one there. So I think we've got enough to cover the frame of the window. So we'll just check that we've got a good fit. That's pretty good. So that's one done. I'll carry on with the other side. The other thing I wanted to do was to add a couple of posters on the side of the building. So I'll do that now with the clean glue. I've got a Harvey Dent poster, so I'll just pop that in. If you're familiar with the Batman support group on Facebook, there's a link to Gotham posters in the file section. If you do get stuck and can't find it, give me a shout by email and I'll send you a link, because I've downloaded and saved them for myself as well. So right, where's he going? And he can go there. And I've got a couple other ones for Harvey Dent as well, so I'll put them in next to it. That would soak a bit longer. Make sure it's in contact with the wall. I've lost the last bit. There he is. There we go. I'll just leave that to dry. I'll carry on with the other window and I'll come back when we're ready. Okay, so I've run out of ag racks, so I'm adding some drops of dark grey wash, and I think I've got a brown as well somewhere. Dark brown, and we'll give that a mix and we'll add in the papers. Okay, make sure they get nice and dirty. So what I was planning to do was to put a few crumpled up dirty newspapers in the hallway of the entrance of the pawn shop, so I'll tuck some bits away in the corner. So once you get it out with the glue, just scrunch it up. I'll apply it in the corners. It's just sitting in there nicely. Got another piece now, slightly darker colour. I think it was a dark green colour on the paper anyway. Just for a bit of variation, and I think we'll put one on the steps. Maybe a bit big for the steps, but we'll try it, see what it looks like. Just dip it in the glue again. And just get it to sit there. Excellent. Right, last one is police line. Police line, do not cross. So I'm going to put that across the doorways. What I'm going to do with this one, because it's a relatively fresh bit of paper gone up on the entrance, I'm going to put a dab of glue there. A dab of glue there diagonally. Just marry them up. I'll go the other way now. I'll put a blob about halfway along this strip. So hopefully they'll match up. There we go. It's just a matter of when the newspaper on the windows dries, I'll glue them into position, and then the grills go in a slot in the window there, so you just push them down into the slot, and then I think that's us done on that one. Yeah. Just wait for it to dry now. Okay, I'll give you an idea of what the windows are looking like. The grills, or the bars, fit into the slot in the window ledge now, and I just need to glue it to the top there. And I think that should look pretty good actually. So I'll get some glue out and we'll crack on. Finished this time, promise you. Okay, really enjoyable kit this. I'll take some nice pictures and we'll do a wrap up.